Okay, so today we looked at the Credo some more, and this was the main thing that we worked on today. Since the Credo is such a big piece of music, we broke down what the main theme is, and the main theme starts here with this pattern. This pattern is Do, La, Fa. Do, La, Fa. Okay? So I had the children go through today and find this pattern because it's all throughout this music. So we have, I'll see if I can find it all. Luke found ones that I didn't even see. So there's Do, La, Fa, and then the other pattern that they need to know is the inversion of that, which is Fa, La, Do, because often you'll see as we go through this piece of music that, for example here, if you look at this. So first of all, this is my laptop. First, I had the children label each line, and it just makes it easier for communicating. 6. Okay, so I'm just going to do this first half here. So we found Credo in Do, La, Fa. Okay, where else do we see this? Not in line 2, but we do see it again. Et in unum domi, Do, La, Fa. Okay, keep going. We also talked a little bit about this right here. This, right, I can't remember the name of it. I should know it, but I don't. This tells the singer what the next note is on the next staff. So we did talk a little bit about that today. So we keep going. Line 4 doesn't have it, except here. So this is what Luke noticed. So this one starts in Credo La et in Patre natum Fa La Do. So you have this inversion here. And then you know you're going to start on La. Ante Do. Ante omni. Yeah, anyway, how it goes. Okay, so and then you have this pattern again. Do, Deum, de, Deo, Do, La, Fa. You have that here again. So we went through all of the music. Sorry, it keeps going out of focus. And we found these patterns. The other thing that I noticed when we were going through, and we haven't gotten through very much of the song, because we'll stop and we'll find patterns like this, and then we'll talk about the literal translation, because the children will just start singing and making sounds, and I actually make them think about what they're singing, because that's important when you're singing a big work like this. Now in practice, like during the Dominican rite, and what's optimum is that you're going to have it antiphonally sung. So you're going to have one group singing so this will be intoned here, and then you have one group singing all the way until here, these double bars, and then the next group will come in and sing. Now optimally, if I can get the children all the way through to learn this song, Leo knows it pretty well already, but if I can get the children to learn the song, then I could have boys and girls singing antiphonally. But I don't know. It is important that they learn the whole song, though. It's also a prayer, and we're learning a lot about what we believe. I mean, it's the Credo, right? So we also have to remember this is the poetic translation. but they also have in their binders the literal translation, and that's important to understand. Well, what does this mean? A really cool thing that I noticed here, I should label this. This is 12. I think Louise just started with one on this side. So in line 13, the composer had this go ascend. Et ascendit in caelum. He ascended into heaven, right? So that's really neat word painting right there that the composer did. And that's something that other composers do throughout music history, is they'll take the lyrics and then they'll word paint with it, like that. And you see this a lot in Gregorian chant. There's actually a lot more that I have yet to learn, but I've scraped the surface of all the symbolism in the patterns of music in Gregorian chant. It's really neat. I digress. So let's go back to finding these patterns. And so this is what I would have if your kid missed a class or you want to go over it again. This pattern of do, la, fa, la, do, la, fa, la, do. It helps you reorient where you are in the piece, okay? The other thing that I found, look at this right here in line 4. You have do, la, et ex patre natum. So this right here, you have here, and then you have dola genitum non factum. They rhyme, and it's the same pattern. It's kind of cool, huh? Consubstantialem patri. It also starts off the next phrase, so that's a neat thing to help the children also understand. Or if you're singing this at church, this is another pattern here. You see this, and it's the same except there's two notes here instead of just one like in this one. Anyway, I find that to be helpful because chant is so foreign to our ear, generally speaking. So what do we have here? So that's not the same pattern, but it's close. Et propter nostrum salutem descendit de caelis. Okay, so this right here, we actually talked about this. Qui propter nos homines et propter nostrum salutem descendit de caelis. I said, what does this mean? And look how they word painted this. Why does this start on the lowest note? Well, it's not the lowest note, but you know what I mean. It's like this is a low note. Why does it start here and ascend all the way up to here? What does this mean? And so they talked about this. This is when Jesus descended from heaven. He lowered himself and became human. Okay. So that's neat that even though he descended from heaven, they painted it like this and have it ascended. I thought it was cool. So here again, et do la fa, you have another pattern here. And this whole phrase right here, if you see this chant in like a hymnal, they'll indicate that this is where we bow. Et incarnatus est. So what are we saying? I believe, right? Credo in. And credo, I believe, and in the Holy Spirit. And in the incarnation, right? By the Holy Spirit, the Virgin Mary, and he became flesh, right? So that's when we bow. And that's what I told the children. This is when we bow. We bow during this part. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it's this whole part right here. Okay, so, but there's that do, la, fa pattern here. Do, la, fa. It's neat. I'm all nerdy about that. Okay, so then we have, go on to 11. We have it here. Pasuset sepu tusest. It's kind of similar to this one, except this one starts on do. So, but it's a little similar. This te, la, fa, so pattern. Okay, so keep going. So here, eta shendit. Fa, la, do. Okay, and I kind of just had them underline it. I'm sorry it keeps doing that. I'm using my cell phone. This is 14. Here we go. Aditerum venturus do, la, fa. You see it there again, right? Okay, so we keep going, and then here's another pattern. Cuius regni. Oops, I forgot the fa. There we go. Cuius regni non eriti finis. Anyway, so on. Okay, here. Ad vivificam. Ooh, that was bad. Ad vivifi fa, la, do. All right. Again with the ascending inversion. Fa, la, do. So I was just kind of, but you see that pattern again. It really helps you get back on track too. And I think that's why we like to sing this Credo, because it's well written, I think, for congregational singing, for choral singing, for teaching. It's not easy, but it's also not as challenging as others would be, where you may not have as clear of a motif as this do, la, fa, la, do motif is. So that's what makes it kind of nice here. So here's another inversion. Et conglorificatur. Okay. Et conglorifi fa, la, do. Okay. And then it goes back down. Do, la, fa, qui locutus est. Super cool. Okay. And then et unam sanctam catholicam do, la, fa. Right? Here's another one. Et aspecto. And then the final one is here in the amen. I remember singing this during Holy Mass. We used to have Latin Mass at St. Andrew. Man, was I always so happy to get to this final line. We're on the home stretch. Anyway, so this is something that if your children missed class, they can work on this, finding the pattern, the do, la, fa pattern, and then practicing the do, la, fa, la, do pattern. Do, la, fa, la, do. So if you were playing this, the key that I would recommend, the notes that if you wanted to play it on the piano, the notes that I would recommend would be G for do. Okay. And then you would go do, F sharp, E for la, okay, and then C would be fa. That's what I would recommend. And you just play that back and forth. You can actually play this in any key. So what would another example be? You could, if they need it higher. I think this is a good, like, speaking voice range area. This is middle C right here. Okay. So this is a nice range for all the kids to practice. I don't have my pitch pipe, otherwise I would intone it for you, but if they have a piano, they have access to it, they can practice that in this key. But they can play any, it's a major chord, right? So let's say, for example, they wanted to have C, B, Do. So Fa, La would be A, and this would be La, and F would be Fa. I know I'm showing off. This is a lot of years of music education, music theory in college. Okay, so just practicing this pattern of a major chord, arpeggiated major chord. Do, do, la, fa, fa, la, do, la, fa. And then finding these different patterns in here. The other thing that would be really, really helpful for them is to practice the words and discuss them as a family. This is what we're going over. If it fits in with your curriculum or whatever, we are using ecclesial Latin, and that's really important. I know some of the children are learning classical Latin. It's different pronunciation. I don't know the differences, but all I know is that some of the pronunciations are not the same, especially with the consonants like the TIOs, I think. I learned ecclesial Latin phonetically, and I didn't know there was a difference between classical and ecclesial. I'm just learning this recently. So that is a distinction that we'll have to make. The vowels are also really easy. They are ah, like father, okay, father. E, really important with e is that there's no diphthong. In English, it's a, right? But in all the Romance languages, pretty much the whole rest of the world, maybe not the other English-speaking worlds, but it's e, no diphthong. E, a, e, okay? That's how you pronounce all I's are like E, okay? So this would be like A. And O. So O in English is also diphthonged. It's O-U. In English, O. You hear that? O. Oh, okay. But in Latin, it is O. There is no U at the end, okay? O. So credo in unum Deum, Deum, Patrem, omnipotentem. So some of the E's are E, okay? But potentum. And it's pretty clear on that paper that I have that has the literal translation. There's also the International Phonetic Alphabet translation on there that tells you how to pronounce things, but sometimes some of those symbols on there, you have to understand the IPA symbols, and I do know them. I learned them in college, but okay, so this is A, E, I, O, U. This is always the same. And then you have this one, and you would find that in words like cheli. This is how it's supposed to look. That's the, yeah, here. This A-E, cheli, chelum, heaven. That usually means heaven. Chelis, heaven. I don't understand the, what is it called? What's it called? Conjugations. Yeah. Because like I said, it's something I learned phonetically, not so I can read it and understand it. So anyways, yeah, so that would be really helpful if that, and that can be their homework, is to make sure that they practice this pattern, do, la, fa, la, do, back and forth, forwards and backwards. And then they circle all the patterns that they see, the do, la, fa pattern. They circle every single one of them. And I'm pretty sure, no, I missed one, look. Atin ubi, atin vi. See, there's that te, la, so, sorry, te, la, fa, so pattern. There's that one. At invisibilium, et patri train. Sorry, I'm not going to try and sing that, but anyway, you see there's that pattern again, and here, and here. You see it down here, cooks to here, okay, and then it gets different. It becomes a different, almost different song on this part of it. There's probably a reason for that I have yet to know. Look, I found it. Yeah, here's an inversion. Fa, la, do. Okay, this is a 20-minute video already. So, yeah, there's a lot going on with the Credo, and it's a really cool piece. So that's what we can work on from now until next Monday. And even if you just get to practicing this pattern here, circling the pattern, and I'll send you a link to this paper. Mark it up. When they practice the music, they need to follow along with the music. Don't just learn it by ear. You got to learn how to read it, because every time they practice looking at the music while hearing it, they're learning how to read, just like if you were reading to them and they're following along with the words. Okay, it's its own language, and now when I look at a piece of music, I can break things apart. This is like pretty much my brain on music. So that now I know how to read it and interpret it and then sing it. So I thank you, and I'll see all your children later this week or next week. All right, goodbye.